Watercolors. They're one of the most challenging painting mediums out there. Feared by most artists, including myself. You know, they're unforgiving, they're mysterious, but even knowing all this, I still decided to try to take them a little bit more seriously and try to harness their powers, and it all started 1 year ago. I'm going on a trip to Alaska, my first trip ever to Alaska. It's gonna be pretty cool. And I'm bringing some watercolors, so I'm gonna just test it out and see how it works, but I think it's gonna be okay. So the reason I decided to start doing watercolors and bring them with me to Alaska as my main plein air painting setup was because it was lightweight, compact, easy to use, and I didn't have to worry about bringing paint tubes with me through the airport. I had also been inspired by some Sargent books that I'd been reading and looking at all of his watercolors and stuff that he had done on location. And I also got inspiration for my compact setup from another artist that I watch here on YouTube named Marco Bucci. He has some great videos on watercolor travel painting and sketching, and it just really opened my eyes to the possibilities of documenting my experiences more easily without having to worry about all the oil painting gear. Hey yo, are you ready to go do some plein air now? Yeah, I just gotta finish packing up a few things here. Dude, we're gonna end up missing the good light. You know how long it's gonna take to unpack and set up when we get out there? What do you want me to do, dude? Do little amateur watercolor paintings like you do? You know they never turn out good anyway. All right, well, I'm gonna head out to the car, so when you're done packing up your whole little studio there, you know where to find me. Oh, hey, before you go, what? Have you seen my paper towel holder? No, I haven't. What about my umbrella? Dude, I don't know where you put all your stuff. Maybe you should get rid of some things. Whatever, dude. What an amateur. So I went to Alaska that May in 2018 and I did 7 crappy sketches. But you know, these were my first plein air sketches with watercolor ever, so I couldn't expect them to be great like right out the gate. But I am happy that I did them. You know, they're cool to look back on and just remember that experience. Whether they're good or bad doesn't really matter to me. It's more about having that memory, capturing that moment, and just being able to look back on it. It's really cool. Once I got back from Alaska and summer hit, I decided to buy a little vlogging camera and start vlogging my experiences and documenting them that way. And I was really preparing for a trip that August to England and Paris. This was when I learned that temperature matters. When I would go out and paint early in the morning, when it was a lot cooler, the layers of watercolor took a lot longer to dry, probably double the time to dry, if not longer, than if I was painting in the afternoon or in the evening when it was very hot, very warm, and it would dry in like 10 to 20 seconds. I noticed this difference became more apparent as the year went on when the weather got colder, or if I just visited colder places, you know, painting at different times of the day. It made a big difference in the painting experience. I ended up downsizing my sketchbook thanks to Steve Mitchell from the Mind of Watercolor channel here on YouTube. He gave a great recommendation for some sketchbooks, custom-made, high-quality sketchbooks you can find on eBay, and I still use these sketchbooks to this day. So I definitely appreciate him sharing those resources with everyone. While I was in Europe, I started to create more consistent, higher quality sketches in my sketchbooks. And for once, I was happy with the paintings and sketches that I was doing and the subjects that I was painting. I became a lot more confident in my watercolor abilities during this trip. You know, I started using a higher quality brand of paint and paper, and it definitely helped to be in a different part of the world that I've never been to and to see so many interesting subjects worth painting. This is when I learned the importance of sketchbooks. Being able to document where I'm at, the things I'm seeing, and the things I care about is really valuable. I can look back on these travel sketchbooks and remember exactly where I was, how it felt outside, and how I was feeling. I'm also starting to see trends in my sketches over time. Things like repeating color schemes and subject matter, and it's really teaching me things about myself that I never consciously thought about. Once I got back home, I stuck with the habit of going outside and painting whenever I could and just documented my journey. All through autumn and into the beginning of winter, and this is when I really started to see a peak in my work finally. It felt like the quality of my work was at an all-time high, and then I began to experiment. This is when I tried a different sketchbook, a different kind of paper, and then my quality just drastically went down. And this is when I learned that materials matter. And for me, the paper especially mattered. It's kind of like I had to relearn everything again. Eventually, almost by the end of the sketchbook, I got the hang of it, but really I kind of just soldiered through the sketchbook, and eventually I went back to the paper that I was used to and that I enjoyed. And it's these kind of experiences that, you know, help me grow as an artist and push me to try new things. You know, who knows, I might have liked that new kind of paper, but it turns out that I didn't, but I wouldn't actually know until I tried it. But, you know, in the end, I'm glad that I did try. And while working through that sketchbook, I actually learned and realized that it's so important to embrace the mistakes and failures that you make, because they're actually valuable learning lessons. You know, I take what I can learn from them and just move on to the next painting. So eventually the weather started getting colder, and I had a feeling that my days with watercolor were limited. You know, I painted a little bit in December, and then it just started raining a lot. It rained all through January, February, March, and even into April. And basically all winter, I stayed inside and just painted with oils, unfortunately. And to be honest, I kind of regret it. I feel like I could have gone out in my car and did some painting, or just figured something out. But, you know, it is what it is, so I can't really do anything about it now. But it's basically a learning lesson for me. You know, learn from it, and next time I'll do better next winter. Through the whole last year, the last thing that I learned is that practice and persistence definitely pays off. You know, here I am a year later, I have a whole stack of sketchbooks, a bunch of sketches, and so many experiences to look back on. And I think overall the quality has definitely improved from Alaska until now. I think I've gotten better, and that's really all I can ask for, is just improving and sticking with it. I think sticking with it is a great thing. But honestly, I feel like I've only scratched the surface with watercolors and really experimenting and exploring. You know, this whole time I've been working in a pretty small format, and I think this next year is just going to be full of more experiments with larger formats, different subjects, maybe some more architecture, maybe portraits, who knows, you know, just a lot more experimenting. But I'm happy with where I am right now, and I'm looking forward to this next year full of experiments. And I think this just goes to show you that if you pay attention to your surroundings, you get to know your materials, understand the value of what you're doing, practice and be persistent, be patient and learn from your failures, you can most likely create some great things and continue to develop your skills and grow as an artist. And that's really what I'm trying to do with this journey that I'm on and these plein air watercolor adventures. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there are any subjects you'd like me to capture in future plein air adventure episodes, please let me know down below in the comments. I'll do my best. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned some things. Looking forward to sharing more with you guys. Take care of yourself. Peace.